Will Medi-cal take my home after I die?
Hi everyone, my name is Armine Bazikyan from Bazikyan Law Group.
This is a very good question that I get asked all the time, and it's a very important question for those of us that live in California. It relates to a concept called Medi-cal recovery. If you're confused or this is the first time that you're hearing the words Medi-cal recovery, you're not alone. Medi-cal recovery is what the Department of Health actually does when someone who received Medi-cal passes away. So the idea is that the Department of Health in California will provide you with Medi-cal if you qualify throughout your life, but they do it with the promise that when you pass away, you will use your assets to repay them. So they will come in and take something that belonged to you. And this is a pretty common occurrence in California, so it's very important to understand how the law works. And let's illustrate it using an example. So let's say John is 60 years old. He owns a home here in Los Angeles, but he's low income, so he qualifies for Medi-cal. He goes out and gets Medi-cal, and a few years later, he's diagnosed with a serious illness. He's in the hospital. He needs care at home. He uses up the Medi-cal a lot during the span of his lifetime, and he passes away. If John is married, Medi-cal will allow John's wife to stay in the home, keep the home, continue living her life, and then after her death, that's when they'll come after the house. If John's not married and just has, let's say, 2 kids, what will end up happening is that the Department of Health will actually come back to his beneficiaries and request that they repay every dollar that was ever paid to John for his serious care. So what ends up happening is the kids are either forced to sell the home to be able to pay back the state of California in the recovery process, or if the kids choose to keep the house, what ends up happening is the department will put a lien on the house for the amount that was owed. Either way, the Department of Health wants to be paid back the monies that they paid to John for his care. This is especially important in Los Angeles or in Southern California because we live in communities where an individual could have a $500,000 home but still be extremely low income enough to qualify for Medi-cal. So they're house rich. And the idea with Medi-cal is that they are okay with helping you during your time of need if you qualify as a low-income individual, but you're promising that you will pay them back from that big chunky home asset that you have. So it's very important to be cautious of the scenario that you're in. Now, ultimately, if you are age 55 and older and you receive Medi-cal, the answer to the question of will Medi-cal take my home is going to be yes, a resounding yes. They will seek recovery from your estate. The good news is that there are things that you can do. There are active steps that you can take that can eliminate that process. So by creating a Medi-cal planned trust, by creating a trust that's properly drafted, you can protect your home and allow it to go to your kids without the risk that the Department of Health will come after them. And you will avoid this process completely. So there are steps that you can take. I invite you to contact my office and schedule a free consultation, and I would be really happy to sit down with you and speak about the process and what it entails and what we could do to help you avoid or help your loved ones avoid this process when you're gone. So feel free to give us a call. Bye-bye.